Hello, Alex Lafkus here. I am going to be tying Hex Parachute. You can kind of tie this for a brown drake, whatever it is. This is the hook I like to use on a lot of these bigger dries. This is a Daiichi 2117 size 8. It's an Atlantic salmon dry fly hook, so it doesn't really straighten out on me, which is nice. 6-aught unithread, basic stuff. There's some pretty cool, I found some stuff that work really good for these bigger dries, and so I'll share that for you. First thing I'm going to do, whenever I'm tying these parachutes for like ISOs or drakes or hex, I tend to tie them with a shuck. I do this because if you've ever watched drakes or hex on the water, they sit there for a while and they kind of work their shuck off. So I'm going to go pretty long on the tail too. The other nice thing about this is it's really going to help that back end of the fly float, which is important, especially, this is a little heavier hook. It's nice, but it is a touch heavier. I'm going to use a little bit of floating poly yarn now as an underbody. And usually what I do is I just take this cord it comes in and kind of split it in half. That's about all you need for the body. It's kind of a mess to split in half, but that should be enough. This is just another way to keep it buoyant. So, I'm going to do whatever I can to keep this fly as buoyant as possible. And, everything like that helps, especially these bigger dries don't necessarily float great. I mean, they do, but if you're really gunning them around, it's going to take a little bit to keep them floating, so and especially when you're fishing at night, the last thing you want to do is worry about if your fly is floating or not when you're casting it over there. So whatever, I try to do whatever I can to keep it going. I usually don't do this step with brown drakes. I usually just kind of match the thread to the body and just do the deer hair. But on these bigger hex, I do it. One thing that I've found this past year or so is this Nature Spirit hair is awesome. They're really clean patches. They make great elk hair, which I tie a bunch of my stoneflies with. They make really good compared hair, caddis hair, whatever it is. And they say what it is on the pack, and it does really match up. Like this hopper hair I kind of like because it's less hollow than some of the stuff, but it's still long, and the patches are really, really clean. I always use my old, I don't know who used to make these, but the old brass deer hair stackers. These are pretty cool, and you can keep them kind of clean, static free, keep a bounce sheet around in the winter if you need. The other thing you can do is get some Brasso and clean it out every once in a while, and that will help keep it functioning at a high level. So I'm just going to keep it so those tips are kind of extended out over the back of the hook like we tend to do with all of our, Michigan dry fly style. Another thing to kind of help keep this bait afloat, segment it back, flare that stern a little. I like to give a bunch of extra wraps at the back too. I don't know if it's completely necessary. I want these to last a little bit, and in the grand scheme of things, they're going to be in a lot of fish's mouths over the course of a season or a night or whatever. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to palmer the body on this. So there's a couple things that palmering these bigger dry flies do. One, these things do move on the water. That's not, they don't just sit there. They're big, so they move. This will usually help it kind of tilt, move a little, and it also, once again, helps float the fly. I'm going to really sock that thing in. You can always backpedal thread over this. I don't know. I don't do it a ton. And they blow up, and then I just deal with it. One thing to kind of keep in mind, too, is I like to keep that hackle just smaller than the gap on the hook, as you can see. So it'll still kind of break the surface tension with that hook. and it gives you a little bit of, so it'll sit correctly on the water. But the biggest thing to getting these parachutes to sit correctly is having big enough hackle. So I'm going to, build up a decent head here. The other thing to do on these parachutes, so like if I was tying a spinner, this would be it. It might be set a little bit further, and I usually use a little foam on it. But I usually try to trim some of this top hackle off, and that keeps it, if you keep it flat there, that'll allow your parachute hackle to kind of stay flat along the body as well when you wrap it. But it's a real simple fly. Now, I also use this same hopper hair for my parachute. It's good because it's not super hollow. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. If you start trying to use any of the body material and whatnot, it's going to flare so much. It's going to become really difficult to use, which is not what you want to have. It's going to flare too much. And any of this stuff's going to flare a lot regardless when you parachute it up. So it takes using, a lot of thread to keep it under control. And then you do some glue and you do a couple loose wraps. So we'll show you that here pretty quick. One thing people have a tendency to do is to go too heavy as far as too much material on their parachutes when you're dealing with this, and that'll tip them over. Now, if you have big enough hackle, it's usually not a giant concern. The other thing I will say is I do a lot of natural deer hair parachutes. I try not to guide at night anymore because I've just seen the frustration, which ends up bleeding over to me, and it's busy. So I tie them all with natural deer hair because I don't care. I don't want to see them. And if you get a full moon, it's always better to have natural wings. Like you'll even see it with spinners. Like you better have calf tail wings, or not calf tail, but hen wing spinners on bright moon nights. You got to get away from the white stuff. And I don't mind building this head up pretty big with thread here because I'm gonna end up putting I'm putting a little dubbing over it too, but it's a bulky bug anyway. So then we're just gonna come in and start parachuting this up. One of the biggest struggles, and I'm not even putting too much tension on it right now. I'm going to increase the tension on the thread as I go up. And I'm going to give myself plenty of room. And the reason I got to do that is because typically when you're trying to find parachute hackle that's big enough, you're dealing with like the top of necks, which tend to have a little thicker stem on the feather. So I give myself plenty of room to wrap that. And then I'll kind of tighten it up a little bit. And then you get your Sally Hansen's out. There we go. That should be not moving. One of the things you do want to put some pressure on your thread when you're wrapping it in, just to keep it so that deer hair parachute won't spin at all. And even some wraps of thread right behind it have a tendency to help kind of lock it in. Just getting a couple pieces there. So I tie a lot of streamers and I enjoy doing that, but I spent a lot of years tying dry flies production. A lot of winter spent doing this, and it's fun. I mean, I still, I tie a lot of my flies because I choose the hooks I want. I'm particular on that. Some would say a bit anal, but I mean, there's some dudes, old time guys, who tie some sweet flies, but the hooks they tie them on are junk. I've had them break, bend out 20-inch fish, 22-inch fish, and that isn't going to be my issue. So I'm going to really load that up with some Sally Hansen's because that kind of becomes the key. Huge thing tying these Hex parachutes that has made a big difference for me and allowed me to be able to do this. These Whiting Farms bugger packs, man, that has made a hell of a difference. You can get some really nice stiff stuff. Like this one's a badger and a brown I'm going to do together, just whatever. I don't know. That doesn't matter. But those have made it, I went from really struggling. Like I've been using rooster saddles and stuff, and I have some stuff that works, but not well. man, these bugger packs are sweet for your big dry fly parachute hackle. About the only place I've been able to find functional giant parachute hackle. Usually Gates has a bunch of them. So, you know, that's usually where I end up going and sorting through and finding them. And I got grizzly and everything else. It's just a badger and a brown, whatever. I'm going to I got a little dubbing here. I guess this is some Spirit River UV dubbing, whatever. It's just their hex color. I don't really care. You can use whatever yellow you have. The yellow I have is, it's junk. So whatever. So this is supposedly the secret deal. And then I'm just going to, you know, all you're doing is covering up that head and covering up how sloppy it looks. Underneath everything, we're giving yourself a little bit of room to finish it off. I could probably add a little bit more dubbing, but I don't care because this is going in my box. Then I just take those hackles together and wrap them. And you can see this is absolutely huge hackle. I'll show you, like, it's big. You want to get stiff barbs sticking out, and it's big. I mean, like if you were to put it on that hackle gauge, it's probably over a 4, but that doesn't matter. Your objective is to have it land hooked down, which is accomplished by having a big enough hackle that the parachute does not tip it over. So I'm not opposed to going big on this. And then I always take my thread down underneath that hackle to tie it off, and then go back to the eye of the hook. So now I got a couple thread wraps at the base. I can come in and trim these off. And there you go. So another thing to do is you want to go in and trim any of the hackle barbs that are sticking down, usually by wrapping that thread around the base. That's not as big of an issue. And then, you know, you can half hitch it. I'm going to try to sneak a few whip finishes in there, which is a little tricky based on my camera setup, but probably with a tool would be better. But when you do it by hand, you can sneak it in there a little bit at a little different angle that gets underneath the parachute hackle, which, you know, you don't want to tie all that stuff down. And that's basically the hex I run for a dry 90% of the time. But you can see giant hackle, so it'll stand up straight. The whiting bugger packs and the Nature Spirit hopper deer hair have been huge additions that have made all this stuff super easy. But that's a pretty basic hex one. I'm going to be doing a bunch of tie-in videos now because, well, there's 20 inches of snow and a little bit of fishing. I'm going to get into some dry fly stuff. I know everybody, you know, I watch numbers and then people watch streamer fishing, not dries, but you know, it's good to have some good dry stuff. So hopefully, you know, this taught you a little something about tying parachutes. I'm going to do some stone flies and some other random stuff. But if you got any other suggestions for me, I'd appreciate you leaving them in the comments and I will get to them. But hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, all that stuff helps motivate me. I appreciate it. Thank you.